Welcome everyone. Welcome back to Pandemic Yoga. So today we're going to do something a little different. It's only Wednesday, but I feel like this week has taken its toll on me. It's been a little bit rough. So instead of doing a specific vinyasa flow with levels, which is what I said we would do, it's going to be very similar. But it's going to be what I call a freedom flow, and that's because I'm basically going to do whatever the heck I feel like. And if you what areas maybe I want to target or something like that, today, honestly, I'm just going to go with it, and whatever I happen to feel like doing, that's what we're going to do. So hope you enjoy it. As always, please listen to your body and do what is best for your body, modifying however you need to, taking a break whenever you need to. I probably won't use props too much, if at all, but if you need props, please use them. And yeah, just do what works for you. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to get started standing and probably warm up relatively quickly. Hands at heart. Just take a few breaths. When you're standing in a pose as simple as mountain, it's easy to kind of forget what you should be doing. So while you're here, take a few moments to think about drawing all of your energy up away from the ground, through the crown of the head towards the sky. So that means maybe your toes aren't gripping. You don't have to lift them off the ground, but they're not gripping the ground. You're drawing the shins up towards the knees, the thighs up towards the hips, the belly button in towards the spine and up under the rib cage. And then really lengthen the upper part of the spine, the thoracic and the cervical spine. Reaching through the crown of the head, so that even with your eyes closed, if someone came and gave you a little push, you would be nice and sturdy, and they wouldn't be able to push you over. On your next inhale, go ahead and sweep the hands up to the sky, connecting the palms, maybe interlocking the fingers and reaching through the pointer fingers. While you're here, make sure that the ribs don't open up. The lower ribs stay tucked in. So there's no real arch in the back, just the natural curve of the spine getting longer towards the sky. On your next exhale, release the hands and dive forward, or you can follow your palms forward. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring my feet a little bit wider, just a smidge wider than my shoulders. And I'm actually going to do all of my forward folds and mountains and everything with wide feet today. Just hanging, maybe rocking back and forth. Feeling the weight in the balls of the feet and the weight in the heels. And then come back to center so that your weight is evenly distributed on all 4 points of the foot. And on an inhale, rise back up. Mountain. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Palms to the ground if you can reach. On your next inhale, gently step back to plank. And exhale all the way to the ground. Release the tops of the feet and the knees to the ground. Hands come underneath the elbows. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, release. Go ahead and bring the hands wide. Inhale one more time. Cobra. And release. Hands come back underneath the elbows. Push yourself up to plank, and then exhale, down dog. Yogi's choice here. You can walk the heels. You can maybe push up and stretch out the toes. Or you can just stay even with your heels to the ground, reaching through the tailbone, lengthening the lower back. On your next exhale, gently step forward. Maybe the feet stay wide. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, palms to the ground. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, back up to mountain. Exhale, dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and maybe this time you jump to chaturanga and inhale, up dog. Exhale, rolling over the toes, down dog. 3 breaths here. Again, yogi's choice. Maybe you hold it, maybe you walk the feet. It's up to you. One more inhale, and on your exhale, jump or step back to forward fold. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, fold. And I'm going to come into chair. Now, if this is too much for you, you can just hang out in forward fold. And I'm going to hold my chair a little bit. Probably hold it through most of class, just because I like to use my legs. I like leg day. I like leg exercises. You may hate them. On your next exhale, release. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold, and either jump or step back. Your version of vinyasa. And then when you're in down dog, pick up one foot, reach through the heel, and keep that foot lifted as you shift forward to plank. Exhale, back down dog. Shift forward to plank. Exhale, down dog. 2 more times. Warming up the core and the shoulders. Really focus on using your abs to push you back to down dog, not your shoulders. Release that foot, finding down dog again, taking as long of a break as you need, and then lifting up the other foot. Keep the heel high as you shift to plank. Try not to over-exaggerate and get into a back bend. You're just lifting and engaging the glute, but keeping the body nice and flat in plank. 2 more times. This is hard on your wrists. Come to your elbows. Last time. Release that foot to the ground and hold for 3 breaths. On the inhale, come up onto the toes, shift forward, and jump or step back to forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Maybe you take another chair, your choice, or maybe come all the way up to standing. Everyone meeting in prayer. Inhale. Exhale, fold. I like to sweep my fingertips into chair Holding for a few breaths. Again, if this is too much for you, maybe hanging out in forward bend instead. On the exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, jump or step. Inhaling to your back bend, cobra or up dog. Exhaling, down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, knee to the elbow. So we're changing it up a little bit. Opposite elbow. Inhale, back, split down dog. And then this time, bring it all the way through and soften the back knee to the ground, maybe giving yourself some cushion if you need it. Before you come up from the ground, I want you to scoop your belly away from the top of the thigh and reach through the crown of the head so that you're not resting on your leg, you're not resting on the ground, but you're also not completely upright. Feel the long line of energy through your spine, out through the crown of your head, and then try to keep that energy as you bring the hands out, and then maybe reaching up towards the sky. Continue to sink deep into the front leg in order to stretch out the hip flexor of the back leg. On your exhale, release the hands to the ground and step back to plank, flowing through your chaturanga. Inhaling, back bend. Exhaling, hips go back. Inhale, opposite foot comes up. Exhale, shifting forward, connecting knee to elbow. Extend back up. And you can skip these if you want and just stay in down dog. And this time on the exhale, bringing the foot all the way through. Ankle right underneath the knee. Drop the back knee. And before you rush to come up, think about creating that long line of energy. Using the strength of the core to hold you in place rather than resting on your leg or resting on the ground. Hands reach first, straight out, keeping that same long line of energy, and then maybe coming up towards the sky. One more breath. And release. Exhaling, stepping to plank and flowing through your vinyasa. Hold it here. 3 breaths. If you find that you're building up too much heat, you can always inhale through the nose. Lion's breath, exhale out the mouth. On the next inhale, come up onto the toes and hop or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. And then inhale either all the way up to mountain or to chair first. I like having my feet a little bit wider because it gives me some more range of motion in my hips. So that's my reasoning. You can stick with the feet together for traditional chair. Inhale to the sky. Everyone meets heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Fold and come into chair. Holding it here. Abs are engaged. Back is not overextended. Shoulder blades draw down the back, shoulders away from the ears. On the exhale, fold. And inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and jump or step into your vinyasa, whatever that might be. Inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale up. This time, knee to wrist. Inhale up, and then bring it through. So you can drop that back knee again, or you can keep the toes curled under. Ankle right underneath the knee, not resting my weight on the leg, not resting on the ground, trying to reach through the crown of the head. When you're ready, hands come up, keeping that same line of energy, and then bring it upright. Bending the back knee if you need to until this hip feels open enough to straighten the leg. From here, which leg is front? Is it your right? Is it your left? I never tell you right or left because I want you to do whatever the heck feels right for you. So which leg is it? Opposite hand comes up then. Grab the wrist and pull over so you're creating kind of a moon shape or a C, the letter C. Feel the openness in the side and the openness in the hip flexor. Come back to center, release, and flow through your vinyasa. Coming to down dog, and then lift. The opposite foot comes up. Exhale, knee to same elbow. Inhale, knee to same wrist. Inhale, and then bring the foot through. Maybe back knee comes to the ground, maybe you keep it lifted. If the knee is lifted, really try to squeeze with the quad, lengthen through the back of the leg. So in order to lengthen one side of your body, you need to squeeze the opposite. So I want to keep nice long length from fingertips through heel, therefore abs are tight, quad is tight. Come up if you can, bending that knee if you need to, and then other wrist reaches the other direction. So while you're here, I have a quick story for you. I was in a yoga class one time, and I was feeling so good, and he was going through this fun, funky flow, and it was amazing. And then he came over and he whispered, "Hey, do you notice that you're facing the wrong direction as the rest of the class?" And I was like, "No, I didn't, and I feel amazing." So that's why I don't teach right or left. You know, you want to face whatever direction you want to face, that's cool. If you accidentally do the same side twice, I don't care. Do what feels good for you. Don't worry about being the same direction as everyone else. Because I went from this amazing class to feeling very, very, very self-conscious. And that is not the point. Come back to center, release down, and inhale to plank. Thank you, those of you who bear with me holding that during my little story. 3 breaths here in down dog. On the inhale, rise up onto the toes, shift the weight forward, jump or step, forward bend. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, palms to the ground, and then come to chair pose or mountain. Whatever is your jam for today. On an inhale, those of you in chair pose, reach up. Exhale, everyone, heart center. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Maybe swishing up to chair, holding it here. Abs in tight, shoulders away from the ears, sink the hips a little deeper. And that is why I don't like to rush through chair. Lots of opportunity here. On the exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and jumper step your vinyasa. Inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, bring it forward. And you can drop to your knee if you need to. Give yourself a little push up. And then push back to down dog. Exhale, bring the foot all the way through. And this time, we're going to keep the opposite hand as your front foot to the ground. And open up the other hand. Now a couple things here. I want you to make sure that you're not dropping all of your weight into the hand and then reaching up. Your weight is still in your legs. And I want your hips to stay square and just the shoulders to open. So that means maybe these fingertips are just barely touching the ground. The shoulder blade of this top hand should be working really hard, engaging the back muscles to come onto the back so that your fingertips can go straight to the sky. Look to the sky for a challenge to your balance, or look to the ground if it's uncomfortable in your neck. Now I want you to go ahead and put your weight on that hand. Maybe walk it out to the outside edge of the mat. Shift onto the outside edges of both feet and sink down. Now this is totally optional, especially if you have really tight hips and it's really uncomfortable for you. Maybe you stay more up here. Go ahead and roll back into that high lunge, and then step into plank, and exhale through your vinyasa. Opposite foot comes up. Shift forward first to plank. Drop the knee if you need to. Push up, and then back to down dog. Totally optional. On an exhale, bring the foot through. Finding high lunge, squaring your hips. Try to squeeze inner thighs together to keep the hips square. Just a little bit of weight on this opposite hand, and then reach up towards the sky, twisting towards the front knee. If you want more, you can always reach the hand over the head for a bit of a more traditional revolve side angle. But I like this version because I can really engage my back. Go ahead and put your weight onto that bottom palm, maybe a little farther out. Roll over onto the outside edges of the feet and sink down the hip towards the ground. Go ahead and roll yourself back up. Floating hand comes to the ground. Step back to plank and flow through your vinyasa. 3 breaths here in down dog. Maybe more while I get some water. So, last breath in down dog. Inhale, come to the toes, and exhale, jumper step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, chair pose. Go ahead and take a look down really quick, and make sure that your knees are not going beyond your toes. You should still be able to see your toes. If you can't, come up a little bit, shift your hips farther back, and then sink back. Everyone reaches to the sky, mountain. Exhale to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Sweeping the ground with your fingertips. Coming to chair pose again. You can always skip chair if you want to. On your next exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and jump or step through your vinyasa. On the inhale, pick up one foot. This time we're going to combine the core work with your push-up. So as you come to your push-up, with if that means on your toes or on your knee, that's cool. Floating knee comes to the elbow and back up. We're only going to do one, so whatever works for you, however you need to get through that. Exhale, bring the foot through. And we're going to find that easy twist again. Reaching up towards the sky, just a little bit of weight on that bottom hand, not too much. And then I want you to pretend like somebody has a hold of your fingertips and they're pulling, 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 pulling until you come up so the hands are parallel and you're in an unsupported twist. So in order to get into this twist, you have to use your core strength to create the twist rather than using leverage. Like here in a prayer twist, you have the leverage of your elbow to your knee. We don't have that. So we just have to use our strength to keep twisting, twisting, twisting. Good, go ahead and release back down. This time the weight does come into that bottom hand. The back foot, outside edge of the back foot, finds your weight, and step back to side plank. I'm gonna go ahead and do a tree pose side plank. You can too. You can do whatever you want here. And then I'm gonna try to keep that tree pose. Come down, roll onto my toes. Easier said than done. Exhale through chaturanga. Up dog and down dog. Opposite foot comes up. On your exhale, your push-up, elbow to knee. Woo, almost didn't make it up. Combo. Back to split down dog, and then bring the foot through. Pausing in high lunge, and then finding that easy twist. Again, someone's holding your floating fingertips, and they're pulling tick-tock, 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 up to upright. Hands are parallel, and you're squeezing with your core to create that twist. One more breath. And gently bring the hand back to the ground. The weight does go into the hand this time. Roll over onto the outside edge of the back foot and step to side plank. If you're in tree pose, try to keep it as you roll to plank and push through your vinyasa. 3 breaths. On the inhale, come up onto the toes, and exhale, jump or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, forward fold. And then inhale, chair pose or mountain. Everyone comes up to mountain and then meets at heart center. Inhale, exhale, fold. No chair this time. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, everyone steps to plank. Exhale through chaturanga. Inhaling, back bend of your choice. Exhaling, down dog. Just one nice little flow to close out and separate from the more workout part of this class before we get into some of the more mind focusing and stretching pieces. Inhale onto the toes. Exhale, jump or step forward. Inhaling, flat back. Exhaling, release. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, hands to your heart. So before we go into some of our stretching, we're going to do a really, really mini meditation. So go ahead and find your balance on one foot, bringing the other foot to an easy version of tree pose. So if you normally come to your thigh, maybe come to your calf. If you're normally at your calf, maybe the big toe goes to the ground. And we're just going to try to find complete stillness here. So hands can be at your heart, or they can be reached up towards the sky. But whatever you choose, quiet everything and stay there perfectly still for about 60 seconds or so. So just breathe. Since we're doing a short meditation, just do a simple in on the inhale, out on the exhale. Without missing a beat, just step to the other side and immediately find your stillness and go back to the in and the out mantra. Good, go ahead and release the hands and your foot. Just give yourself one big breath, the eyes closed, sealing in that stillness and that calmness from the meditation. On your next inhale, reach the hands up. One elbow goes on top of the other, interlocking the palms if you can. If you can't, no worries, you can just put the backs of the hands next to each other. And then pick up one foot. Honestly, I don't care which one it is. Maybe it's the same one, as the top one, maybe it's the opposite. Yes, there is a right way. I never, ever can remember it. The further you sink into the standing leg, the easier it will be to wrap the toes for eagle. And again, just like with the hands, if you can't wrap the toes, you can just keep the big toe on the ground for balance. Go ahead and start to lift the leg up, and you're going to step out as wide as you can. Maybe take another step even wider. Inhale, the hands towards the sky, and then exhale, roll yourself forward. And just hang. Let the weight of the hands open up your upper back. Go ahead and release the hands and walk them a little bit wider to either foot. And then activate the arms and gently pull the crown of your head a little closer to the ground. Keep that extension as you reach the hands behind. Thumbs touch your tailbone. Interlock the fingers. And then if you can keep the palms connected, you can go ahead and start to extend the arms up and over the head. Release the hands. They come back under the head. Go ahead and walk them forward and come into a wide-legged downward dog. Hands walk in a little bit and walk your feet in so that they are quite a bit wider than your hips, and then sink down into a yogic squat. So maybe the hands stay on the ground, or maybe you bring the palms together into prayer. Release the hands and exhale, hips to the sky. Walk the feet all the way back in, and then roll yourself up. One vertebrae at a time. Inhale, opposite arm comes on top. Pretty sure that's the wrong side. Every time I do this, I gotta overthink and then I forget. Whatever. Floating leg comes up. I do remember which leg I did last time. So there's that. Like I said at the beginning, it's been a little bit of a rough, long week, and it's only Wednesday. At least Friday is a bank holiday, so I'm off. Yay! Eagle is really, really great to open up all of your joints. If you look, you are literally stretching wrists, elbows, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, pretty much everything except for your spine, which your spine is not a single joint. So, when you're ready, release the leg and step out all the way to your edge of your mat. Maybe step a little bit further. Inhale to the sky first, and then exhale, fold forward. If you need to bend the knees to fold, you can. I know for me, it's really hard to go through that motion on my hip. So you do what is right for you. Release the hands and walk the hands wide to the feet. Again, grabbing hold of the outside edge of the feet. If you can, go ahead and walk the feet a little bit farther to either side so you have more of a chance to connect the head to the ground. Release the feet and bring the hands again behind the back, thumbs connecting to your tailbone, opposite thumb on top, and if you can, reaching the palms up and over, trying to keep the palms connected. Go ahead and release. And then we're going to go into a tripod headstand. So for those of you who have the flexibility in your hamstrings to go from the straight leg variation, that's awesome. Some days I have it, some days I don't. So yeah, might wipe out here, that's okay. If you don't have that flexibility, start on your knees. Crown of the head comes to a cushioned surface. I am a wimp, I cannot do it on the hardwood floor. I do not feel bad about that. Elbows, hands and elbows right underneath the shoulders. And so just lift up so you have a 90-degree angle with the elbows. And simply start by resting your knees on the elbows. That's an amazing starting point. If you have neck problems, please skip this and just stay in a wide-legged forward fold. Now, for those of you who can do it from standing, which I have a feeling this is going to be so ugly, it's all good. Ta-da! It worked. Always works a little bit better under pressure. Anyways, go slow, come down, practice, fall. Falling is the best way to learn. I hate falling, so that's kind of hypocrisy coming from me. Come to a wide-legged down dog. Honestly, the best way you can practice that if you're not comfortable is up against a bed, because the bed will support the majority, the heavy part of your body, and you still have to control your legs in the air. So it's a great starting point. Hands come back underneath the shoulders. Walk your feet in, again, about halfway. They're still quite a bit wider than your hips. And sink back down into that yogic squat. So I first started doing yoga when I was a senior in high school. And we're not going to talk about how old I am now, but I've been doing it for a very, very, very long time. And I couldn't do a headstand until probably about 3 or 4 years ago. So don't feel bad if you can't do one. Totally not required. Do a shoulder stand or do legs up against the wall. You still get the great inversion, and you don't have to risk any neck injury or anything like that. Win-win. All right, go ahead and release the hands to the ground. Exhale, hips to the sky. Walk your feet back together and roll up nice and slow. Come back to the front of your mat, and we're just gonna go through a simple flow to come to the ground. So inhale, exhale, inhale, flat back. Exhale, gently step to plank. You can skip the push-up altogether here if you want to, or if you're trying to strengthen the upper body, you can add it. Add 2, add 4, I don't care. Pick up 1 foot, and we're gonna open the hips. So do whatever you want here. Maybe you have a bend in the knee. Maybe you do wild thing. Maybe you just keep reaching straight towards the sky. That's personally my favorite. On an exhale, bring the foot all the way through, and gently drop the back knee to the ground. Take the hand that is outside of the foot, bring it to the inside, and walk that foot out just a little bit. Stay here if you want, or if you have the range of motion, come onto the elbows. If you want more, roll over onto the outside edge of that front foot. Toes should be pointed at about a 45-degree angle. Maybe bring the hand to the inside of the thigh. And maybe if you want, you go ahead and pick up that back foot and reach for the foot. Maybe open the heart a little bit more to the sky. Release the foot if you have a hold of it. Bring both hands back to the front, knee to the sky, and then lift the back knee. And we're gonna walk that front foot to the other edge of the mat and gently drop the knee to the ground, coming into pigeon. Now, if this is really intense for you because your shin is almost parallel to the front of the mat, walk the heel a little bit closer to your hip, and that will allow you to ease into pigeon a little bit more. Now, if you like reclining pigeon and you just want to fold right forward, go for it. I find it kind of boring and old. We do it in every class. So I like to work on my king pigeon, which I'm really, really far away from being able to do, but that's why we work on it. So if you want to work on it with me, maybe you can grab hold of that foot and just go right into it. Maybe you need the strap. If you need the strap, start by wrapping it around the foot and just bring it over the same shoulder. So you still have one hand on the ground for support, for balance, and then you're just playing with stretching out the quad, stretching out the lat, and then maybe you pick up the hand and look to the sky. Go ahead and release, one hand at a time. Push up just a little bit and kick that front leg out so that you make an L with your legs, but you're resting on the outside edge of the hip, so it's kind of an awkward feeling. Now, if you want, you can fold forward, or if you want a little bit more, you can fold to the opposite corner. So you get a little twist and the stretch in the outside part of the thigh and hamstring. Go ahead and walk yourself back in towards center. We're going to go into fallen triangle. So the same hand as that front leg is going to lift up to the sky. And maybe you just keep the hips more square, or maybe you really try to open it up as though you were going into wild thing. Good, go ahead and release the hand, keep the hips high, and step back to plank. Your choice here. You can go through your vinyasa or you can skip it altogether. Everyone's in down dog. And pick up the other side. Yogi's choice. Wild thing, just bending the knee, maybe some hip circles, or reaching as high as you can with the toes. When you're ready, bend the knee and bring the foot all the way through. Cushioning the back knee as you drop it to the ground. and bringing the hand to the inside of the foot. Again, you can stay here, or if you'd like, you can come on to the forearms. No rush here, stay in each variation before you progress. Coming up onto the outside edge of the foot. Just a teeny tiny bit of pressure on the inside of that thigh. And then maybe lifting up the foot of the back leg. Gently release that foot. Come back up onto the hands. Untuck or flatten your mat if you had it tucked. And bring the front foot all the way over to the opposite edge, gently dropping the knee to the ground. So this is basically a perfect pigeon position. Your shin is mostly parallel to the front of the mat, but it's really intense on your hips. So if you don't have the openness in your hips, walk that foot closer to the hips, keeping the hips square to the ground. You're not resting on either hip, and that back leg is straight out behind you. So again, you can fold forward if you want to. Same old, sometimes it works for people, but like I said, I want to work on my king pigeon today. So this is my bad hip. We'll see what happens. Wrapping my strap. Definitely not an ideal strap for this, but making it work. Wrapping my strap and bringing it over the same shoulder. Perfect. Okay, so now I can play. I can stretch out the shoulder and the back. I can stretch out the quad and the hip. Maybe just playing back and forth with that, or picking up the other hand and coming into king pigeon. Go ahead and release one hand and then the other, picking up just enough weight so that you can extend the bottom leg. Again, trying to make an L shape with your legs, an awkward L shape, because you're resting on the outside edge of the front hip. And then come forward onto the forearms. Maybe walking the hands to that 45-degree angle, getting a little twist, getting a little bit more into the outside of the hip, thigh, hamstring. Try playing with that front foot. What does it feel like if you flex the foot versus pointing the foot? Go ahead and walk back to center. Come up onto the hands. The weight is in the opposite edge or the opposite hand of the front foot, and reach up into fallen triangle, whichever variation works for you. Maybe you have the open heart, or maybe you stay more stacked. Release that hand to the ground and gently step back to plank. Flow through your variation of a vinyasa, or skip it all together and go to down dog.
Sadly, yogis, at this point my video did stop recording, but I thought the rest of this practice was valuable enough that I wanted to post it anyways. We are about 55 minutes into our hour-long practice, so I promise you haven't missed much. We really were just going to make our way into Shavasana. So if you would like to do that now, go ahead and drop the knees gently to the ground, cross the ankles, and slowly roll yourself onto the floor. Feel free to take any final twists or stretches that help you prepare for Shavasana, and then stay here as long as you'd like. I hope you enjoyed the benefits of this practice, even if we didn't get to close out together. I hope you enjoyed the freedom to flow however felt good for you in the moment and in this day. And I will look forward to practicing with you next time. Namaste.